when coming up with this list, of course, I wanted to avoid like the one that I think both of us would love remade in a heartbeat, which is Chrono Trigger, because like
Oh,
that was obvious that like yeah you want it remade and stuff, right? Or do you just
I
like
I struggle with that because yeah, it'd be kind of nice to see updated graphics, but Chrono Trigger is one of those games that is just it's like holy grail. You just don't touch it. It's like if ever like I guess I know like this generation might say like Breath of the Wild or like would be like the perfect game, but like during that time Chrono Trigger was like the perfect game.
I mean, it's still considered among many to be like one of the holy grails of gaming,
Yeah.
and
I
you
mean,
wouldn't be
yeah, it
wrong.
is, but like it's just kind of I guess like it's if I were like let's say I was a kid in this generation, like yeah, I would like it'd be kind of like one of those things that's like it's just kind of like set in stone that this is a perfect game. And I just kind of as a gamer and a member of the culture, you kind of have to like move along with that ideal. But like it's just kind of like music. Like a certain musician that was popular in my day, and if I let a younger person kind of listen to it, you'd be like, oh yeah, they're kind of cool, but I like this artist better.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like that type of a thing.
yeah, and especially because of how that game, how much of an impact it left gaming culture. A lot of games have Chrono Trigger in their DNA. So there's games that we may quote unquote have done it a bit better than Chrono Trigger did, just because better technology and blah blah blah. But having said that, though, that's one of those games that aged perfectly. Like if you were to pick it up right now, it's like you would think that it's kind of like one of those. Yeah, like you would just think it's like a recent game.
Yeah,
I
like a
forgot the
region like
word.
from like a small indie company or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like something like that. Oh hell yeah! I mean, because there have been games that, like more recently, I think came out last year. Sea of Stars. It
Yeah.
was for like pretty much it had the soul of Chrono Trigger and had like
Hmm.
the graphics. It paid an homage to it and everything. So it's like, yeah, it's been that's why it'd be kind of hard to remake. That legendary game. But having said that, not just thinking Chrono Trigger, but like in general, how would you like your like any of the games like that are being remade? Do you want the games to be like 1-to-1, as in like just be the same kind of like game style, but just with updated graphics and stuff like that, or do you want them to add more stuff to your games, like more like levels, more story, voice acting, stuff like that?
It's kind of hard to say because I'll just give two examples. If I had to choose one like what did you say 1v1
1-to-one, yeah,
one
one,
by one 101 yeah
yeah,
sorry so I
1-to-one.
just lost train of thought but like let's say like the Yakuza series you
Mhm.
had like Yakuza Kiwami I think it's called
Yeah.
Kiwami but it's they just updated the graphics but generally the gameplay the fighting is still kind of like how it plays on the PS
And
they didn't really
aged.
update the movement yeah but all
Hmm.
they did was update the graphics a little bit well, not a little, but they upgraded it
Yeah, no,
significantly.
because it looks
But
great. Yeah.
yeah. So like, I loved that type of a remake. But and now, if you look into like them adding things to it, like you gotta have to look at like your Final Fantasy 7 to your Resident Evil 2 and 4. How I would say to a degree 3. Yeah, they like 2 was yeah, it's a remake, but you would have thought that it's kind of like it's a remake that looks like that plays like it's inspired from two, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the same characters, the same type of levels, the same type of gameplay. Oh, not the same type of gameplay. I take that back because the PS1 version was over the top wonky. But like they added a lot of things to it, like even how like darker and scarier it is. Like if you play the original version of Resident Evil 2, you can see basically everything. And in
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2, that you're when you're in the hallway of a police station, you're just kind of like your only field of vision is like your flashlight. So they like kind of added this element of horror that's like that the original didn't have. So yeah, when they can add things like that to it without taking away too much from the original soul, if you will,
Mm.
And even with like, let's say Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII was like a turn-based RPG, whereas the remake is an action-based RPG. Like it's like it plays like an action game. So like I can say I like both of them. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate the original for what it is, and I appreciate the remake for what it is. So as long as they execute it well, I think you can get it. You can definitely do them adding things to the only problem is it's because they try to. It all depends on the execution. Basically, it just
Mm-hmm.
if you don't execute it well, it just kind of takes away from it. Because when you take an IP and you say it's a remake, when players come and buy that game and play it, they expect some things out of it based on what they played originally. So you
Mm.
have to have that soul still in there. Like I know we talked about it with Final Fantasy VII, like with Avalanche and Jesse and them. You know, we never got to see their real story in the original, but they added a storyline to I forgot that her name.
Whose name?
What's her name? Jessie.
Oh yeah,
Jessie,
you
right?
just said
No,
Jesse.
Jessie. Yeah, Jessie. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you get to go to her house and you got to see that she was this like aspiring actress, and you got to now her death meant something. It like hurt you because you got to know
yeah.
who she really was, and just kind of like
They made you
those type
care.
of
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those type of additions are like that. I
Yeah.
would prefer that, like, but not to stray too much away from the original. Like, so
Right.
yeah, I would
You
like
need the
to.
soul, the
My
heart and
answer would kind
soul.
of, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like my answer would be like kind of one of one, but add stuff to it.
Okay.
If that's like, I guess that's the PC answer, but like, I don't want it to be too much like the original, but I don't want it to stray too much away from the original as well. So like,
Yeah,
it
that's
becomes this big balancing game of like, you can't you're that's where remakes kind of get tricky. It's just like you can't do too much or you can't do too little. You just have to find that right perfect sweet spot when
yeah,
it comes to remakes.
yeah. Because this is actually leading. Like for me, I'm kind of I'm with you. Where I
Mhm.
don't want it all. Like I don't want it to be 1-to-1. Not necessarily. I mean, sure, I'll take it because if I really love the game and it's just 1-to-1, fine, I'll take it. But like Resident Evil 2, you like yeah, you nailed it. How or they nailed it. I should say you didn't make it.
Well,
But
I I could have.
no, I mean what I meant to say is like you nailed what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like somehow they managed to capture the same feeling with updated graphics and stuff like that. So if you play the old Resident Evil 2, or like when we're playing it way back in the day, you're feeling the same feelings that current day Resident Evil 2 remake is making you feel. So they captured the heart and soul of it. So
Hmm.
that's what you want in that remake. So obviously you want someone that understands the material, is a big fan of the material, and are not like they're not just in it for like a quick buck. Because like sure they'll get the quick buck, but then you know it'll just leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah,
But that being
exactly.
said, what was that?
No, I totally agree with you. It's just exactly. It's like where's the heart and soul, man?
Yeah, yeah. But, with that being said, Nintendo they have been remaking a lot of games, and for the most part, like 1-to-1 kind of remakes with little to no additions in some cases.
Hmm.
Besides like updated graphics and stuff like that, they're nailing it though, because like Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. Um,
Hmm.
Recent examples are Super Mario RPG. They finally made it, from the ground up, like with updated graphics. Um, Plays the same um, for the most part that like the Super Nintendo one did. So that's what I'm saying. It's like very 1-to-1. Just like it looks gorgeous now. Um, and then even more recently, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, like that one looks beautiful. But again, it's like not much more content was added. But Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, but and people are huge fans of those. Those were classics. And the thing with gaming is that, especially if it's a Nintendo game, if you want to play an old Nintendo game, you gotta better cough up that money. But yeah, they're giving us a way to play them, like uh, which is great, better than other companies have done with like some of their dormant series, I guess.
Hmm.
But with that being said, with your remakes, do you want to pay full price for them, or do you think like, all right, well, this game is 30 years old, So
Mm,
maybe have it be like what 30, $40, half price
yeah.
of like what a other game is. If it's like a 1-to-1 thing, like they didn't add like many more things and stuff like that. Um, and when I ask this, I'm not talking about like sell prices either, because like Resident Evil 2 remake, you can get that dirt cheap now, and that's not a 1-to-1 remake. That's like so many more additions and stuff like that. But yeah, what do you think?
I, I'm not gonna buy it if it's like kind of one of those things that feels like they're in it for a quick buck kind of a deal. Like Final Fantasy VII, I definitely pay full price for that remake. And I did pay full. Oh no, I didn't. Oops, sorry, Square Enix. I did pay full price for Resident Evil 2 remake, so I made it for it. But no, if it's one of those games that like, if it's been like a long span of time, like, because if you're talking about Final Fantasy 7 Resident Evil, it's been a while since those games have been
Hmm.
released. So you know that there's going to be a lot of additions to it, and they had to do a lot of cosmetic
Yeah.
upgrades to it. So just I know that they it's a significant upgrade from its original. So that I don't mind paying full price for. I would kind of be hesitant if it's like a game that's like I said, like kind of like Last of Us, and then they're gonna do Last of Us remake or and then remixed or re every version of re.
Right.
And it's just like then that's when it becomes like, okay, are you just doing this just to grab money out of me? Because it's just like, yeah, the graphics look better. You upgrade from I guess PS3 to PS5, but it's just like, do I have to pay 60 $70 for it? It's just like
I'm a
that
sucker
kind of
because I
stuff is.
did.
Yeah, I mean, you did, but like it's for me anyway. It's just kind of like it's just like I'll just wait for it to goes on sale because like it depends on the remake. It's just kind of like Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7. I'll do it if it's like a one-on-one and like I don't see any significant changes or I don't hear of any significant changes or significant graphics. And the original date of the original is kind of like only 2-3 years apart. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah,
come
no,
on,
that's
guys.
different for
Do I
sure.
need to shell out that much money for another one? You know?
Or how about this one? So how about like Croc? You didn't hear, you hadn't heard about that game till today. It's
Hmm.
a 1-to-1 remake. It's a full 60. Yeah, let's say it's a platformer. Let's say $60. You've never
Hmm.
played it before, but you know
Hmm.
that it's a 30-year-old game.
Hmm.
What about now? You're experiencing it for the first time. Would you pay full price, or knowing that it's an
I mean,
old ass game?
if I hear from you that just the best thing since sliced bread, I'll probably be like, okay, fine, I'll shell out money for it. Because I mean, since it'd be like I'm me playing it for the first time, so it's just
Mhm.
like kind of I would shell out the money for it.
Yeah,
Because
because it's safe to say that
like I said,
for
the
the
thing with
remake, like people are gonna be experiencing games for the first time, and that's
yeah,
why like the
that's what
targeting. So
remakes are good for. Yeah, that's why a lot of times remakes. That's the good thing about remakes. That like it kind of introduces players to like a game of the past. They can experience like games from the past, but like also like you hit a weird gray area when you start like you said like they're in it for the quick buck and it's just like they just know that gamers are gonna buy it. So just like
mhm.
it does leave a weird taste in your mouth.
Yeah, no, I agree because I am one of those suckers. Again, I bought Last of Us, you know, 2 or 3
Yeah,
times. I'm not sure.
yeah,
And I'm
and
talking about the
one
first one.
game I'm kind of yeah, but one game I am kind of debating whether I should buy on release day or just wait for a sale. It's Metal Gear Solid Triangle Delta, whatever
Oh
you
yeah,
want to call
Delta. Oh,
it.
I'm getting that day one for
Yeah.
sure. It's one of my favorite games ever,
Yeah, it's
and
one of those things. It's also one of the other Holy Grail games that you just don't touch, and I'm just kind of like, oh,
yeah, I
I
hope they
want it,
nail it.
but I don't want it. Yeah, but yeah, it's just one of those games that just is like, I don't know. That kind of seems like a quick crash cash grab because I don't know.
Yeah, because they're
This is
using
where I struggle.
the same voices, like not voice actors, but like literally the same data, like the same
Exactly.
dialogue they're using
That's
that. But I
yeah.
mean, we'll see. Time will tell.
Hmm.
Like always, people got to vote with their wallets, you know, or
Hmm.
like if you don't want any more of that, then don't buy it. Not even like or
Yeah.
wait for a sale, stuff like that.
Yeah. But that's one of those games that's like it's kind of fitting for the question. It's just like, oh, you just struggle because you know it's gonna get a huge graphic update, but as far as like you said, it just keeps the same voices. Just like I
Yeah.
guess graphics are. It's yeah, it's hard. That one's a tough. That one's a tougher.
Would you prefer a sequel to like the games? Let's say any of the games that you listed are your favorite games. Would you prefer a sequel to that, or do you prefer a remake to that? Like, let's say Chrono
Mm,
Trigger, like gun in your head, they're like, all right, do you want a sequel or do you want a remake?
I want a sequel.
The sequel.
Sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here. I would
It. Yeah.
obviously, well, in this fantasy world, we're making a game, so we're gonna nail it. It
Yeah.
captures the spirit, the gameplay, like pretty much whatever made that game special. You know,
Hmm.
plus more. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Like ideally in an ideal world, that would be the best case scenario. It's like where it's like, all right, well, you're getting more of what you love, and then if you want to play it again, hopefully there is a way you can play it legally.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's also like it carries on the story as well. So like you kind of
Yeah,
wanted to,
that
yeah.
part.
Like it's like what if Spider-Man 2 didn't get a remake? I mean, not a remake, but what if Spider-Man didn't get a Spider-Man 2? It's just like we would never know
Harry Osborn's
Miles
fate.
Morales, how that dynamic worked. I guess I don't know. I haven't
Yeah,
played Spider-Man 2 yet, so sorry guys.
terrible, terrible. All right.
I beat Miles Morales. You'd be proud of me to say that.
Yeah, you beat that what 5 hour game?
I mean, I beat it in 20 hours, if that makes you proud.
No, it was an amazing game.